on an elite distributor call yesterday. I can't tell you guys a lot about it, but I can tell you that there are some super, super exciting things that are happening that are going to blow you away, from new enrollment ways to enroll people. I mean, we are about to go into some serious things. And those of you who were on Brandon's call the other night, Team True Blue outgrew the company the last 2 months. So I'm just going to say this. I've been saying it. I don't care what rank you are. Keep doing launch calls, whether you've done 3 of them or 2 of them. Have different people do them. If you're a Pro 3 or above, you can do a launch call. I know we were having just Pro 6s and 7s do them, but we've found out that if you can do a 3-way phone call, you can do a launch call. And there's people that are on this line right now that are very capable. And what we have to do is we have to push people to do launch calls. And you know, there's I'll be honest with you, Lisa and I are doing one next week, and Jean DeLucia is going to do the launch call for us. So we're not doing anything, as I told you guys the last couple of weeks, that we wouldn't have you guys do. So I'm more excited. I'm up in Ohio. It's like it was when I first got started back almost 6 years ago coming up. And guys, I was told it would take 10 years for us to get this thing where it needs to go. So we got about 4 more years. And I believe that the majority of people on this line will be the people that can take this company to $1 billion company. I believe the people in True Blue can take this company to $1 billion. So you guys are in the right place with the right company at the right time. And I'm just grateful that we get to do this together with some of the most amazing people. Lisa and I are honored and privileged that we get to do this with you guys. And so I'm excited. I'm driving, and I'm going to let Janice take this over. Lisa's going to make her the host. And Janice, I'm excited to hear about this tonight. I miss you guys. I can't wait to see you guys pretty soon. And I know you guys got a lot of stuff going, and you're excited. So share your excitement with us, and let's hear what you've got to say about the law of curiosity. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Lisa, did you mute Michael?
I'm going to mute myself, Janice. I'm going to mute myself.
All right. So welcome, everybody. As we've been talking about all these weeks, I cannot believe this is coming to an end. Next week, we have the law of modeling to talk about. And oh my gosh, that is phenomenal. And then law of expansion after that. And I think we've got one more coming. But I hope you've been taking really good notes. And if you've not been able to participate in these every week, that you've gone back and listened to the recordings, because this is life information. It's not just business information. And that's part of the power of the law of curiosity that we're going to be talking about tonight. It really can impact the quality of your relationships across the board. And I was reviewing a lot of the other laws today, and I was thinking about how they apply to life in general, and I was talking with Glenn at dinner about the law of design. It's about designing your life, not just your business. And if we can apply these laws of leadership growth to how we live life, and that includes our businesses, but how we live life, I promise you, you will experience a quality change in your everyday life. So let's get started, because I really want to honor your all's time, and there is just so much incredible information to cover. So let me do the first thing, which is to bring up the handout. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, and hopefully everybody can see that now that I've shared. Okay, great, thank you. And what I want to do is, this is a long handout today, which is kind of cool. But there is just some fabulous, fabulous information here for everybody. So let's talk about curiosity. And in terms of John Maxwell's laws, curiosity is going to drive me to grow. Well, we know that every single one of these laws are designed to help us to grow, but they do it in different ways. So how is curiosity going to drive us to grow? And the quote that is very familiar to us, whether it's a paraphrase of this right back from John F. Kennedy or his brother Bobby Kennedy or many other people. Some people look at things as they are and ask why. Other people look at things as they could be and ask, why not? And that is true about life in general. We can always be negative. We can always be the victim. We can always say, oh, why is this happening? And why didn't this happen? And why? And instead, we want to shift our perspective. We want to turn around and we go, okay, so why not? Why could I not accomplish this? Why could this not happen for people? Why could the impossible not be possible? If we ask the questions, why not? And we'll see that as we go through this tonight. We're going to begin to see some options created for us and some solutions and some possibilities. So one of the things that John says next is ask extra questions and go the extra mile to help people. I find in my counseling every single week, every day that I'm in the counseling center, asking questions is critical. If I don't ask people questions, then I can't find out what they're really thinking and what they're really feeling. And it always is a series of questions. You don't ask one question and they go, okay, I got what I wanted. Now let me just vomit all over them. And none of us know anything about vomiting on people, do we? Not in Life Vantage, heavens. But I wish I could see all your faces as I said that one. But we have to continue to ask questions. And one of the great mistakes that leaders make is they lead by assumption. Well, what does that mean? Let me give you some examples. Oh, I know them. I know exactly what they're going to do. There's no point in my even asking that question. Or, oh, I know all about that person. Yep, we don't even want to have that person on the team. They're just going to bring da-da-da-da-da. Oh, I know how this is going to roll. Yep, I know all about. How many times have we been guilty, my friends, of saying that in our heads if we don't verbalize it? Well, there is another kind of assumption, and that is to assume that every person knows something that I don't know. So if I ask questions, I'm going to find out what they know that I don't know. And that's a beautiful kind of assumption to make, because that reminds us that every single person adds value to our lives in some way, shape, or form. And we want to be the kind of person that adds value to someone else's life. And the only way we can do that is by asking questions. So let's make an assumption that every single interaction we have with somebody is going to put something into our blender, if you will, that's going to help us become the incredible person that God created us all to be from the very beginning, from the very foundations of time. So what he also said is you can't lead people until you find people. Well, we know that this whole course is about leadership growth. It is the 15 laws of leadership growth. And a lot of you are going to say, oh, but I'm not really a leader. Well, none of us are initially. God didn't instantly birth a leader inside mama's womb. It's taken development. It's taken growth. And by the way, most leaders have gotten there by a whole lot of pain. And one of the things that John Maxwell frequently will say is, don't question why somebody is where they are and why you aren't there unless you're willing to go through the pain that they went through to get to where they are. So that's part of that whole assumption thing again. Let's assume that everybody has something that they can share with us that's going to help us in our personal development and our personal growth. So the next little batch of points there is really about the curiosity connection. So the next series of blanks that you see, curiosity, imagination, and creativity take us beyond ordinary. They expand thinking and possibilities. Now think about that. Curiosity, Imagination and creativity are going to take us beyond our ordinary. So curiosity begins with asking more questions. If you want to live a surface life, live without questions. Take everything at face value. Take everybody as you see them. Don't try to get to know them. Don't try to understand them. Don't try to get to know a situation. Don't try to understand a situation. Just live it at the surface. But you're going to have a very average life if you do that. You need to be able to sense what people sense and feel what people feel. That's how we grow, is to really learn from everybody around us. Learn about what makes them tick. Learn about what makes them sad. Learn about what has kept them paralyzed and what has prevented them from moving forward. Ask questions, but ask them in a very respectful, loving, genuinely caring about you way. Questions will tell you how you are growing. So one of the things that we learn by the questions we ask is, are we being self-centered or are we being other-centered? Are we really focusing on learning what someone has to contribute to our lives and to us getting better and growing better? Are we asking questions to set things up so that we can tell our story and so that we can sound good and make ourselves feel better? So really pay attention to the questions you're asking, and they will tell you how you're growing. So the next point in the curiosity connection is imagination begins to create options. So when you start asking questions, and let's say you're brainstorming, I love brainstorming sessions. I used to, back in my nonprofit days, my association management days, we used to do brainstorming sessions all the times with boards of directors, with committees, with members. And they're one of the most powerful times because when you brainstorm, there's no rules and there's no parameters. Every idea is considered valid and gets put up on the board. So one of the things we want to do is allow our imagination to grow. And that comes as a result of our curiosity of beginning to ask questions. It helps you understand that there is more than one way to do something. What a novel idea. My way is not the only way. Wow, if we can get over that one, guys, it's an amazing how far we can go moving forward. Then the last point in the connection is creativity gives you more solutions. So we're curious and we ask questions, that sparks our imagination, and then that allows our creativity to go to work to really develop solutions. So success in curiosity is having more than one answer. And when people ask questions, this is what John talked about as a leader. When people would come to him with questions or problems, he would ask them to always bring 3 possible solutions. And he would get them thinking about possibilities. He would awaken their imagination and their creativity. And he always insisted that one of the 3 solutions had to involve their participation in it. So you see, when we ask questions as a leader, we're trying to help people expand their own imagination and their own creativity to become problem solvers themselves. The fewer questions you ask, the fewer options you have, and the fewer solutions you will have. It's very narrow thinking. It's tunnel vision. And we want to just break through and break out of that tunnel and see the vastness of the horizon in front of us and know there are lots and lots of solutions out there. So that's the curiosity connection. Curiosity, imagination, and creativity. So we've got to remember, questions are always the key. And they're always driven by curiosity. So let's talk for a minute about how do we develop creative people. And let me pull this up so y'all can see it. Okay, so 1, be willing to absorb the risk of having creative people on your team. Creative people can be a challenge. And John shared about one organization that he ran, and he had a super creative guy, but he just didn't fit with anybody else. And he was a challenge to other people because he was not average. And that, of course, threatened and intimidated them. So John told him not to come to any staff meetings. And of course, the way John tells the story is maybe not the way he actually handled it, but who knows? It is John Maxwell. But he said that people started complaining, well, why doesn't he have to come to staff meetings? He says he doesn't have to come to staff meetings. He comes up with creative ideas on his own. And they said, well, he really should come to staff meetings. He shouldn't be treated any different. And he says, well, let me see. Last month, he came up with a $2 million idea. I think the last idea you came up with was a $2 idea. So you need to be in these staff meetings. Now that's sarcasm, but John has that kind of nature about him sometimes. But the point is, if we have people who are super creative, we want to protect them and not stifle their creativity. One of the bonus video speakers made a statement that society right now is killing curiosity. Society right now is killing dreams, and it's dumbing everybody down where we have to be fair, everybody has to be treated the same. And as you'll see right here in these points, John says, don't treat everyone the same. And he says, average people keep people average, boring people keep people boring. So we have to protect our creative people. But we also have to engender creativity in everybody else on the team too. We've had to give them the freedom to share their ideas without being criticized, which has happened too many times in their lives and in all of our lives as well. Now, John made a statement, leaders put their best energy and time toward the people who will give them the highest return. And that's positively true. But leaders also know how to protect. Sorry, my throat was getting dry. Leaders know how to invest in those that are still learning their ropes as well. So it's a balance. We don't ignore everybody that on our team that's not putting in the optimal return, but by the same token, we've got to focus on the productivity. And John used a sports analogy in terms of a coach putting in the best players and helping other players to learn and to grow, but he's hired to win the game. So he's not going to win the game if he gives everybody equal time on the court, whether they need it. I mean, whether they're good or not. So we have to be balanced as leaders if we're going to accomplish the goals that we're setting out to do. And this one I love, be comfortable with half-developed, half-baked ideas. I mean, that is just brainstorming, guys. That's it all in a nutshell there. And what John says is some of his best thinking's been done by other people because he's not afraid to throw out a half-baked idea and let other people add to it. So that's where we come up with those creative solutions, those optimal ideas, those many, many options. So don't be afraid to share with people that you surround yourself with your half-baked ideas, because it could end up being really cool. And I know that's happened many times with our own team, that somebody will throw out an idea and we'll go, hey, you know, here's a really cool component of that, but what if we did a little twist here and did this? And they go, oh yeah, well, how about if we did this? And we've come up with some really neat things. So I want to encourage all of you to be comfortable with your thoughts that haven't fully blossomed into an idea yet. If you have an abundance mindset, then you aren't afraid to give your thoughts away because you have a lot to give. And what he's saying is, don't feel like I only have one good idea, therefore I'm going to protect it and I'm not going to let anybody touch it, and I'm not going to let anybody make changes to it. No, no, no. We have to have an abundance mindset. We have to know that there's more where that idea came from. So let's just share and let's do it together. Let's become the best of each other. He says, don't have a rule book for creative people. I talked about that with brainstorming, how important it is that we allow creativity to blossom. And how's that going to happen? We keep asking questions. We keep asking, well, what if? Well, what if we did this? And what if we did that? Not the negative what ifs. Don't go there. It's not, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if I don't succeed? Or don't go there. It's the what if of possibilities. That's where you want to live. That's where you want to have your mindset at. And encourage ideas from the bottom up. John says 90% of the ideas have come from new people because they're untainted. They haven't been shut down yet. They haven't been discouraged yet. They're still full of enthusiasm and newness. So allow those new people to share. Don't think, well, they haven't been around long enough. They haven't done what I've done. Oh, don't go there, guys. Be respectful of everybody's gifts and talents because God's putting them all in the mix for a reason. So let's explore that reason and let's be ready to embrace all ideas. So how do we stay creative? One, we have a beginner's mindset. Have a child's mindset. Any of you that have little ones, you know that the question why gets asked more than anything else. Why, mommy? Why, daddy? Why is the sky blue? Why do the birds sing? Why did the sun not come up today? Those whys are from a beginner's mindset of wanting to learn and wanting to understand. So the second point there is learn something new every day. Make that when you wake up in the morning, one of the things that you want to say is, okay, today I'm going to learn something new. Don't know who I'm going to learn it from. Don't know where I'm going to learn it from. But today I'm going to learn something new. And when that happens, acknowledge that so that you can say to yourself, I'm still growing. I'm not getting stale here. And then make failure your friend. Ask yourself, how can I grow from this? Not how can I go through this, but how can I grow from this? How is it going to better me? If we're looking at going through something, all we're looking at is survival. And my friends, we're not going to grow from survival mindset. We're going to grow from accepting every challenge that comes our way as an opportunity to grow. So please make your question out of failure. How can I grow from this? And those of you who know my story know that that's exactly what I did. And that's why I published my book. And that's why I've done so many of the things I've done, is because I refuse to let the bad things that happened in my life, the challenges and the negative things that happened in my life, to become something that stopped me. Instead, I believe firmly in Scripture, Romans 8:28, that says, all things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are called by Him for His purpose for them. And I believe I have a purpose, and I believe that everything that happens to me, good or bad, is contributing to my accomplishing the purposes that God's put me on this earth for. So big question, how can I grow from this failure? Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Be comfortable with change. We've talked about that in so many of these lessons. The law of pain, the law of reflection, the law of trade-offs. All of these things talk about pain, but it's a good kind of pain. And I was listening to a call this week, and the gentleman on the call said, without the pain of discipline, you're going to experience the pain of regrets. Without the pain of discipline, you're going to experience the pain of regrets. Guys, I'd much rather experience the pain of discipline than the pain of regrets as I go through my life. And the fifth point, which is not there, is keep asking questions. So write that in your notes. Number 5 is keep asking questions. And I love this next sentence. Look at questions like keys on a key ring. The more questions, the more keys, the more doors you can open, and the more ideas that you will have. So again, it all goes back to questions. Look at every question you ask as potentially another key that's going to open another door. Behind that door is going to be another idea, another option, and another direction for you. We just don't know, but if we don't ask questions, we will never know. And this is another very important point. John says, many are not willing to admit they're wrong, so they claim to be right. Now, I don't know if y'all have any of those folks in your life. I know I've run into a few. But here's what John says. Surrender of being right is a prerequisite to finding right. Not being right, not making it right, but of finding what is right. Because the right thing, the truth is out there, and we want to be part of the team that's discovering it. So surrender of being right is a prerequisite to finding right. And then a few other remarks, and in the last couple minutes, I'm going to share some points from some of the other speakers on this topic. But don't live a life of assumption. Be willing to take risks and be willing to be wrong. Be willing to fail. Because if you don't try and you don't take a risk because of fear of failure, you will still be tomorrow and next year and 5 years from now in the exact place that you are this moment. You have to want to take risks. And yes, it can be scary, and yes, it can hurt, but please be willing to take a risk and be willing to be wrong, and then learn from it, grow from it, be vulnerable in it. So John closed his session with 3 questions. Are you growing? How are you growing? And how do you stay curious? So those are, again, questions, but these are questions to ask yourself. Am I growing? Am I doing anything today, tomorrow to grow? And how am I growing? In what areas of my life am I growing? What am I doing to grow? And then how am I ensuring that I stay fresh, that I stay curious, that I have that beginner's mindset? So let me just share with you a couple of other quick points. And one of those that John has said is start with ourselves. Improve me first before I try to improve others. And that's, again, consistent throughout all of these laws, is you have to grow first. You have to change first. You have to be the curious one to awaken curiosity in others. And then another very powerful point is the what if questions have a ripple effect. What if I did not go to that meeting? What if I had not signed up? What if I don't grow? What if? Those what ifs have ripple effects. You can't stop the ripple effect. But the positive ripple effects of when you go ahead and you take that risk and you grow, that positive ripple effect can change thousands of lives that you will never even know about until you stand with our Lord in eternity and He shows you. I want to have lots of surprises when I'm standing with the Lord of lives that were impacted. So finally, let me close with this. If you could learn more, should you? If you could grow more, should you? If you could serve more, should you? And if you could change more lives, should you? Is it worth it? Is it worth it to go through pain, to go through growth, to go through getting out of your comfort zone? If you could have these positive impacts of changing people's lives, should you do that? I think y'all know the answer to that. So I'm going to close out my screen here and turn the call back over to Lisa or Michael.
I'm going to take it, Janice.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I would tell you that I'm like Janice. I have learned from every single one of these calls, but I've went through all these stages. I've went through pain. I went through the part of growth where I've learned so much that in life, as soon as we deny ourselves and it's not about us, we can grow from every single one of these teachings that we've been listening to. It starts with that. It starts with us realizing what we have and eliminating those distractions that we have. And we all know that as we grow and we learn, there's going to be a lot of distractions, okay? And if we stay rooted and grounded in these principles that we've been learning, it allows us to be and grow into the person that God has created us to grow and become. And so, Janice, thank you so much. I really am encouraged by these teachings. I'm glad that we get to go back and listen to them again, and that we've been recording them and playing them on here. Guys, I'm super excited. We are 2 weeks away from Global Convention, guys. I am beyond excited. Guys, I'm just going to let you know, I have 5 people that registered this week for convention in 2 weeks that weren't going, know they need to go. Every day we've had somebody new registering to go. So it's not too late. I know I see George is on here right now. I just got George his airfare. It's really reasonable. I'm blown away. It's still reasonable this close to convention. But I'm looking forward to seeing you all, you guys. Janice, thanks for doing this call tonight. And I hope I'm up in Ohio. As you guys can see, it's freaking cold. It's 36 degrees. And it's supposed to get to 70 over the weekend. So, guys, I will have a webinar next Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So get your guests signed on, and let's get some launch calls going, guys. These launch calls are getting people to the next level. I've had rank advancements the last 3 months from people that have been doing launch calls. So I love you guys. Thank you for being on the call. Janice, we love you. Glenn, I see you're on there. I love you. And Goober Elite is signing out.